If you want to live an intentional life, you need to understand the system of setting goals and achieving them. If you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can set the right goals and be able to achieve them. So make sure you watch this video to the end. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to this series. And today we're going to be talking about a very important topic. I know goals is like a cliche topic, but it's still very important. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should consider setting goals if you don't do that already. And even if you do that, you can still watch and get some value from this video. So reason number 1, goals measure success. You can't measure success without goals. In other words, you can't tell how successful or unsuccessful you've been if you didn't set any goals to begin with. So goals are very important for measuring success. Number 2, goals help you measure what you've achieved. They help you measure the things that you've actually done. If you had a plan or a vision for something, they help you track what you've been able to do about those things and then to make improvements for them. And then number 3, which is very, very aligned with what we're doing on this channel, goals help you live consciously. One of the things we're focusing on this channel is living intentionally, and goals help you do that. They give you a foresight into what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and they help you stay conscious because you know that there's an end in mind. There's a result you are trying to achieve. So goals help you live consciously and intentionally. Now let's get into more about goals. What are goals? Goals are ideas of the future or desired outcomes. It's something that people desire to see at the end of the day. I have a professor who usually asks this question, like, at the end of the day, what are we going to high five about? That is a goal. So what are you going to high five about? What are you going to celebrate about at the end of whatever endeavor you're doing? It could be whether you're in school, whether your personal life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business. What is that end goal? What is that end result that you're trying to achieve? What is the one thing or the 10 things that you want to high five about at the end of the day? I've seen a lot of people stuck in their lives for 10, 5, 2 years, months. And even I've experienced that because there was no goal in mind. There was nothing to look forward to. There was no target in mind as to what you want to achieve at the end of a time period. And so goals are really, really important. And that's why I'm talking about it today. For instance, I don't know why I keep giving an example of a degree. But that's like one of the most relatable things. For instance, if you're pursuing a degree, there's usually a timeline, either 4 years for college, 2 years for a master's program, 4 years for a PhD. There's a timeline. There are yardsticks that are put in place to ensure that you're reaching the end goal, which is to graduate with a degree, which is to be conferred with a degree at the end of that period. So goals go with time, goals go with yardsticks, goals go with work, they go with action. You need to be able to cross those milestones in order to get that result that you're looking at. So let's get into the meat of this goal setting thing altogether. How can you be successful with your goals? Number 1, in order to be successful with your goals, you need structure. People don't really think about structure very much in their lives, but you need structure. You need to be organized. You need to align your goals with particular time frames in order to be able to achieve them. Time is a gift that God has given to us. Time is the way we measure life. So you need to always be aligned with time, always be working with time. You can have daily goals, you can have weekly goals, you can have monthly goals, you can have yearly goals, you can have hourly goals, you can have goals even by the minute. And that is a conscious way of working with time, working in time, and making sure that you're making good use of your time. So you need structure in order to achieve your goals or in order to be successful. Number 2, make sure that there's a balance between reality and your aspirations. So don't set goals that are too far from reality. Make sure that there's a balance. When you set goals that are way too far from reality, most of the time you find yourself not putting in any action. Let's say you set a goal that you want to earn $1 million in 3 months, and as of now you have just $2,000 in your account. what is the action that you're going to take to meet that goal? It's not a bother if you have a solid plan of action, but when you don't have a solid plan of action and you set goals that are too far from your reality, the end result is you usually don't take any action, or you take very minimal action because the goal you set is too far from what is really happening in your life at that moment. So set realistic goals, set goals that strike a balance between your reality and your aspiration. Number 3, this is something that has been used in the corporate world a lot of the time: SMART goals. Specific goals. Goals must be measurable, they must be attainable, they must be realistic, and they must be time bound. And then number 4, an area that people don't usually think about: make sure you avoid setting goals without God. There are goals in my life that I set without God, and I saw the mistakes that I made because of that. I set a goal way earlier, like I was probably a teenager or a very young girl. I set a goal that I wanted to get married at age 23. That's not a bad goal, you guys, that's not a bad goal. But because of the idea of, I have to achieve this, I have to get this done by age 23, and the fact that I set it without God, without knowing that this is actually God's plan or desire for me or God's will for me, I found myself in relationships I had no business going into. I found myself doing things that I had no business doing because I was so much in a haste to achieve this goal. So make sure that whatever goal you're setting it with God. You know for sure that this is something that is God's will for your life. We're going to talk about God's will in a future video, but make sure that whatever goal you're setting is aligned with a path that God has for you, and God has a unique path for you. So know that path and know the goals that you ought to set to be able to get to that destination. I also want to talk about why it's important to set goals in alignment with God's will, just to hammer on that really. So the first thing is, God knows you. God has plans for you. He says in Jeremiah 29 verse 11 that I know the plans I have towards you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. God has plans for you. The fact that you're alive on earth means that there are plans in place for your life. There's a reason why you were born at this particular time, to the country you were born, to the family you were born into. There's a reason. That's the first reason why you need to align your goals to God's will, because He knows the destination of your life. He knows the path that is right for you. That fits perfectly. Number 2, you should be reflecting on your calling. You should be reflecting on your giftings, the things that have been implanted in you, the things that you do naturally well at. You should be thinking about those things when you're setting goals. And the goals I'm talking about in this regard are life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, whatever it is. You should be reflecting on your calling. You should be setting goals that align with your calling. I've seen people not paying attention to this and just setting goals because that's what is trending or that's what someone told them to do. What works for another person may not necessarily work for you. So I encourage you to really know your path, to know the unique things that you have been called to do. You also need to write down your goals. This is very, very, very important. I can't stress how important this is. You need to write down every single goal that you're setting. Yes, we have memory, we have sharp brains, and you may think that you will recall every single goal. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but you would not. So make sure you write it down. Have a journal. These days you can use your phone, you can use your notes. Write down the goals that you're planning on doing. For instance, we just started a new year. Make sure you write down your goals. Make sure that you're keeping track of them. You're keeping track. If it's a weekly goal, make sure you're keeping track of what you set ahead of you and what you're actually doing to achieve them. And another thing I want to add is, even as you set your goals, make sure that you're regularly checking in with God and you're checking in with yourself, because one of the things that we may end up doing is that because we have a particular goal in mind, we ignore what God is saying in the moment, or we ignore what is happening in the moment. The world is changing at a fast pace, and there's no reason to be stuck in one place perpetually. So make sure that you are checking in with God. What is God saying now? And aligning yourself to that, and also checking in with yourself, checking in with your surroundings, what is happening. And I know that there are times when you need to put your mind on that particular goal. Yes, so in all of this, use wisdom. And that leads me to my last point, make sure that you're asking for direction and you're willing to adjust your goals according to God's needs. Make sure that you are constantly asking for direction, constantly speaking with God, constantly in relationship with God, and adjusting your goals as God leads you. Remember that goal setting is your way of maintaining your alignment with God or ensuring that you're constantly walking in the will of God. When you have goals, you have clarity, you have direction, and you have peace of mind. That's a really important thing to do for your life, for yourself, and for the generations that are tied to you. Thank you for watching this video today. This has been day 5 of our 30 days to intentional living series. I hope this video blessed you. If it did, please make sure to like, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And if you haven't followed through with the rest of the series, make sure you go back and watch the videos. And I'll see you on the next video.